Last time then we spoke about combat survival and resistance to interrogation, and we've passed that now, and we've moved on. So, where have we moved on to? Well, you're pretty much, unless you have an absolute meltdown now, you're pretty much on your way to a Sabre Squadron. But people have failed the parachuting. They've refused to jump. Not very often has it happened, but it has happened a couple of times in the past. And you used to do the parachuting after you were badged. But now, for that very reason, they do it before you're badged, because it would never do for a trooper to be stalling in the door and saying, I'm not jumping, would it? All right, so that's why they do it. So you have a rounds course to do. Now, I'd already qualified on rounds. You're straight, LLP, your normal side door parachute, hop and pop, down you go, dope on a rope, all that sort of stuff. I'd already done that, so my basic para course was done. So we got a week off, those people who'd passed out, and there was loads of paratroopers on there. In fact, most of the people on the course were airborne, trained in one way or another. So a lot of people didn't do that week. I think there was the Submariner, and there was a couple of others who basically did that. So they went away and they did. Then there was a 22-foot steerable to do because you had to do a water jump. Now, I thought to myself, that's a round canopy, the 22-foot steerable. How it can't be that much different, can it? So I said I'd done that as well, and I got a weekend off and all. However, on the Monday morning when I came in and the parachute was put in front of me and I had to put it on to go and do my wet jump, I was like, what is that? What is... Oh, no. And all my mates know exactly what I've done, so they're not helping me, right? They're laughing at me. And I'm thinking to myself, I could actually fail the course on the very fact that I just completely lied about having done this parachute, and I hadn't, right? So I'm panicking now. I didn't know how to put it on. It was a different setup completely to the LLP or the PX4, whatever it was. All right, completely different setup. So as the parachutes were laid out on the floor, the parachute jump instructor walked past me, the PJI, and I went, do us a favour, son. I said, I hurt my shoulder at the weekend. Give his hand, put this on. So he went, oh, I'll do that for you, son. So he said, hold your arms out. So that was number one. Done, right? He put the parachute on for me. I was quite happy about that. The handed beam was strop. And I went and got in my stick, ready to jump out of the plane. When we got onto the plane, we sat down we're sat down in our thing, and I suddenly realised we're going to be jumping out the back door, not the side doors. Again, I'd never jumped off the ramp before, and I knew it was different. When you jump out the side, you push yourself out and you force yourself into the slipstream. The back door is supposed to be slightly different. The ramp, the tailgate, whatever you want to call it, is a different deal. Again, nobody's too keen to tell me because they know I've been a bluffer, right? So I was number 2 in my stick and the first stick to leave. And I remember the guy in front of me was laughing. He's like, you and as we hooked up, I remember we're flying down, we're hooked up, the ramp's gone fully down, we're hooked up, ready to go. And he's in front of me, he's giving away nothing. And my hand's on me strop, I'm hooked up, and I'm waiting to go. And I know I've got one chance to get this right. I've got to look at what he does and do exactly the same. Red light comes on, green light, go. He gets a tap on the shoulder. He takes 1 or 2 paces, boom, and he jumps out with his arms open. So I'm like, right, I'll do the same. 1 or 2 paces, and it is happening like this. It's like, go, go. On that go, I'm like 1 or 2 paces, boom, and I'm out, and I'm in the slipstream. And it wasn't too bad. I made a half-decent effort of it. All right, I got in a few twists, but when I got through the twists, pulled my canopy round, canopy's there, pulled it round, inspection, looking at, there's a hole in my canopy. I'm like, no, there's a hole in my canopy. Now, because it was a water jump, I had no reserve, so now I'm panicking. I'm like, I'm going to cream in. I was yelling, screaming like a baby. Unbeknown to me, you're meant to have a hole in your canopy when you jump a 22-foot steerable. It's got a hole in it because how would you steer it otherwise? So all that screaming, all that did was notify the PJIs who were in a boat waiting for us that bloke don't know what he's doing, all right? So I land, all right? I hit the water, smack. I've not turned into wind because I didn't know how to. The toggles that were there, quite clearly, I didn't know what I was doing with them. I thought I was better off if I didn't touch anything and just took what was coming. So I was sort of like, I'm the only one going the wrong way. I'm the only one going twice as fast as I should be going, and I slap into the water. Boom. I bounce. I go through me rigging lines, and I land on the canopy, and I'm now sinking. So I think to myself, right, I'm going to die here. I'm seriously going to die. So I get my knife out, and I slash this canopy to pieces. and cut it. Every last piece of string, ribbon, silk that I can see, I hack it to death in a frenzied attack in the... The boat comes over with a... What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And then they suddenly realise he has bluffed this. And the bloke looks at me and goes, you ain't never done that before, have you? And I'm like, stopped from a panicking now, thinking I'm panicking for another reason now. I could get thrown off the course. Anyway, fair play to the PJI. He never said nothing. I completely annihilated the canopy. That might as well have sunk to the bottom of the drink for all they were concerned. That was gone. They recovered me into the boat. I went back. I got a bit of a ribbon from the lads, but nobody ever said nothing, and I wasn't thrown off the course. So then you go away and you do your steerable square shoots. They were really good fun. They're like sort of like everything's off the tailgate. You're jumping out. You do loads of clean fatigue jumps with no kit. So you're jumping all the time on this. You can steer these things and throw them around. They were really cool. That was really good fun. So I enjoyed that. And then, like I say, you did your qualifying jump with all your gear on and all that sort of stuff, and you jumped the net. And then after that week, you go back to Hereford, and now they put in, and then they just started putting in an extra week's worth of counter-terrorism training, and that was in all the black kit. So that's the really Gucci stuff. Now you've got your MP5 and your pistol, and you're cutting around on in my day, it was Range Rovers, and you're jumping in and out of windows and kicking doors down and all that sort of stuff. That's like... You've just reached next level. Just reached, you know what I mean? That was brilliant. That was superb. So I really enjoyed that. And then it's like you get a long weekend. You come back on the Monday morning. The Marines or the lads who are going to go SBS have gone down to Poole for the Monday morning because they're going to get badged down there, and you're going to get badged up in Hereford. So in those days, I mean, the Marines didn't change their cap badge or nothing. It was still the same cap badge. So they go down and they come back up on the Tuesday. But you go in, you sort of like, you surrender. Well, you don't surrender, but it's the last time you wear your own cap badge. And the CO comes down. And I remember the CO giving us this brief, and it was along the lines of, some of you are lucky to be here. Some of you have only just scraped by. You know, don't count your chickens before they hatch. We can soon get rid of you. Basically, you know, in a nutshell, you're all a bunch of you don't deserve to be here, and if you mess up, you're going home. Oh, and by the way, here's a beret. And it's sort of like got flung at you like that. And I'm like, oh, thanks for that. Do you know what I mean? It was insane. So that was the great ceremony of being badged. There was no ceremony whatsoever. The berry they gave me wasn't the one I'd shaped. I'd left that up in the block, but I hadn't brought it down with me because I didn't want to be presumptuous that I was going to get given a berry if I wasn't, because at this stage they could still stand up failure. And so I literally walked back to the block with my stable belt on, with no berry on my head, because this thing looked like a helipad in itself. And the next time I put my berry on was, I don't even know. Probably Remembrance Sunday or something like that was the next time I wore the berry. And I went straight onto the counter-terrorism team. And the rest, they shall say, is history. Well, that was selection for you. My selection, anyway. Like I say, nowadays it's probably a little bit different. As I say, it's an evolving animal, is the regiment. So things change. But that was how it was done in my day. Más o menos, more or less, as they say in Spanish. Hope you've enjoyed it.